Hello, everyone. Doing a mic test. Check 1, 2, 3. Let me know if you can hear my mic okay. I'll be starting here in just a few minutes. VG says 5 by 5. Thanks so much. I'll be back in just a few minutes, getting a few things tied down, grabbing something to drink, and we'll rock and roll. All right. How's everybody doing? Up, we got a follow already. As soon as I clicked over. Thank you so much. Looks like we got a follow from Looney. Looney, thank you so much. Appreciate it. How's everybody doing tonight? Got a whole bunch of people in chat. I see Starlet, VG, all the usual Star Jump crew. Execute from Info Runners. Salute. Hope you're well, buddy. Had a great time streaming with you during SitCon. Who else we got? Oh, we got Fast Car. Oh, you know what? Hey, Fast Car, I'm going to mention the Soul Citizens here in just a minute. I got to fix something on my camera, though, everyone. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great October 30th, day before Halloween. All right. All right. And yes, Feathers, I'm going to attempt. It's Joran. Joran, hope you're well. Salute. I'm going to attempt to dual stream again. It's been a while, but with Twitch easing up on its policies of dual streaming, I'm going to try it again. So first things first, I was going to talk about capital ships. It's something I wanted to talk a little bit about, or no, sorry, not capital ships, base building, and then talk about capital ships a little bit, specifically in regards to one subject surrounding capital ships that's been going on lately, and then probably get into a few other things that have just been on my mind since SitCon. Those of you that also follow Info Runners know that on the second day of SitCon, I was a guest on the Info Runners all day, along with Execute. Had a blast streaming with him and kind of reacting. I felt a little bad though, because I I felt a little speechless after the second day. There was just so much revealed and so much talked about that it was a little hard to kind of like put everything into like a nice, succinct reaction sentence or two. I was sort of left speechless, not because it was like all good. It was a lot of great stuff, but it was just because it was so much I didn't really know how to parse everything. So, is my camera, hold on a minute. Still getting this camera. I'm on a slightly new setup here. Did some adjustments. Try this. Okay. Real quick, first thing, Fast Card, are you in chat? Are you still in chat? I think you are. So I want to send out a big shout out to to everyone over at the Soul Citizens crew, that whole group, Griff, Fast Cart, Yo-Yo Meg, Big Black Gaming, Abdi. I'm gonna forget names. Geo, all them over there, who went to SitCon. Griff had gotten in touch with me about a week before, maybe 2 weeks before, and said, "Hey, yeah, yep, all of them, ATL, just everybody. So many good people over there." That are part of the Soul Citizen community. And Griff reached out to me and said, "Hey, you know what? We're going to have a booth, and I'd love to have some Fleet Viewer posters." And I was like, "Absolutely!" It was kind of flattering because they were the only group that asked to have any, and I would have definitely sent anybody that would have got in touch with me. I've been more than happy to provide that stuff, especially for the wider Star Citizen community. And but I was fortunate in that it was the Soul Citizens that reached out, who've always been really good to Star Jump. And so they took our posters. They were there. I think they gave some away or took some. I'm not totally sure how that went down, but regardless, they sent me back 3 of those posters, and they sent them back. Let me hold this up. Hopefully this doesn't come through. They're all signed by, I know it's the NVIDIA is trying to cut it out. They're all signed by members of Soul Citizens, which is awesome, and then also signed by members of CIG. So got Disco Lando here. There's actually a whole bunch of signatures on here. Let me read out a few of them according to Griff, I think. So I guess it's a little hard for me to read them all, but I'm pretty sure I got Aaron. You can't see it. Let's see if I can. When NVIDIA broadcast is not working, it's at the worst times. But when you want it to not work, it won't do it. But we've got let's see, am I on it? Yeah, Aaron Roberts right there. Supposedly we got Todd Pappy, Galaxia, Jake, Ulf, Sean Tracy's on here. I see Xylo, Gomab, Yo-Yo Meg, Geo, Authy. Authy's awesome. We got, who else we got on here? Just so many. It's hard. Yeah, oh my gosh, there's just a ton of people. So cool. Either way, I see Fast Cart's name down here at the bottom, Griff down here. Just a bunch of great signatures on there. I really, yeah, this is make believe. Yeah, of course, NVIDIA is like totally working well right now. But either way, it's a really cool poster. Lots of awesome signatures. You can kind of see it there. Oh, there we go. Lots of really cool signatures from the dev team and from Soul Citizens, 2 groups that I'm very happy are on this poster. Can't imagine. Obviously, the devs are really cool to have some signatures of. And then I can't imagine a more awesome group than Soul Citizens to have signed it. They sent me 3 back. So I've got one for Starlet, who I believe is in chat. Those of you who know Starlet well from our early Shipyard episodes, as well as Star Jump Fleet Viewer, of course. And then they sent one to Ender as well. So I will make sure I get all those off to them. But Fastcart, I talked to Griff earlier today, but let me give you the big double salute. I really appreciate you doing that and representing Star Jump a little bit there, having our posters there, and going through the trouble of getting those signatures. I know it's hectic and busy enough to be at an event like that, and not have to worry about getting signatures for a group that's not even you. So I really appreciate it. Let's see here. What else do we have? I may have missed something in chat. Sorry, here. Let me scroll back a little bit. But yes, big thing here is that was very appreciated. Those came in today. Very excited to see that. Again, thank you so much, Fastcart. Please express my gratitude to the entire Soul Citizens crew. Just again, amazing people. They've always supported us. Like a lot of people in chat always have. I see Griff down there as well. So thank you, Griff, once again for those posters. And, big shout out to the other people in chat who have always supported Star Jump, even earlier on before we had a following. Execute from the Info Runners is in chat. Joran from the Yacht Club. Again, all people that have supported us when we barely had any followers. So yes, Griff, definitely. I am going to be at the next Citizen Con. You can count on it. Even if it's overseas, actually, I am going. I've already gotten wife approval. So let's see here. All right. Yeah, I feel a little bit like I was missing out. I'll be honest with you. I was a little jealous. I wasn't there. Real quick, Platinum Sniper says, I believe Star Bitizen was repping Star Jump too. So yes, Platinum, I did hear that. They were repping Star Jump a bit. Both Maiden Ariana and Sigelian were both representing Star Jump a little bit and giving some shout outs to us. I know Sigelian talked to Sandy Roberts about Star Jump for a bit. In the framework of Star Bitizen, and that is something that I kind of like tertiarily supported Star Bitizen. I didn't totally know what it was, but I was helping them out with it. And obviously Ultima Energy has supported Fleet Viewer through our Patreon. That's why they have a ship in the Fleet Viewer under the supporterships. And so now that I know what it is, and I've been looking into it more, I'm going to support them in a bigger way if I can. I know I got to send Maiden Ariana the Zeus and the Fury LX. Yo, Megan, chat, salute to you. I hope you're well. The Stormtrooper, man, long time, man. I hope you're well. I was just the Stormtrooper. I was just calling you out the other day, hoping that you're doing well. It's been a long time. Yet another person who has a ship in Fleet Viewer. And the Stormtrooper, what did you helped me attain you did some magic and helped me attain my Polaris, I believe it was. So, helped me with some CCU chains and stuff like that. The Polaris upgrade. Yep. That was back when it was a limited hull ship. So I give you big salutes, the Stormtrooper. Thank you so much. Yo Meg, obviously in chat. BMXEO, obviously of Starfab and Fleet Viewer fame, also in chat. We got a good group today. So I was gonna just flip over to some stuff and talk about things. Some of it you've probably already seen on other channels. I'm usually late to all this shit, but we're gonna get to the This Week in Star Citizen, the preview channel stuff with Pyro. I wanted to talk about the Destination Adventure, the base building stuff. I wanted to talk about the possible Bengal carrier capital ship variants that have been kind of being discussed in various nooks and crannies of the community. And then we'll see what else there is to talk about. Once again, I am streaming on YouTube as well tonight. I've got both chats running through. This is the first time I've done that in probably 6 months or so. So my windows are kind of a mess. I'm gonna get better set up for dual streaming again. It's like I said, it's been a while. Another thing I want to do is get a bot set up to where I can grab questions like that are put in brackets, some sort of find some sort of system that I can do that. I know Info Runners has something that works pretty well. I know Yacht Club has like a separate sort of system they use to gather questions. I just need to sort of figure out what the best way for me to do that is. I'm old. I have slow reaction, so sometimes I don't catch every question. However, if you do have a question, just put it in brackets. That doesn't like pull it for me automatically or anything, but it will help me see it. Just put it in brackets and do like capital, just do capital letters, what you call it, question, and I will get to it. Stand by here. Why is this playing? By the way, I do not know how slow the YouTube I do not know how slow the YouTube stream is. Hopefully it's not too delayed. Yeah, sorry if it's real delayed. Sorry, I'm fixing some windows here. Bear with me, everyone. Okay. Execute says it's like we need someone to build a bot for the Star Citizen community. Yeah, you know what? I honestly, Execute. I was looking into that. No lie, I was looking into like possibly building some sort of bot. No kidding, something that would be tailor made to this. So anyway, okay. I see Feathers is testing delay. Seemed pretty quick, right? All right. YouTube is about 5 seconds behind. Okay, thank you, Execute. Appreciate it. Somebody says, question, how do you think land claims will work, and how would you like for land claims to work? You know what? We'll jump right into it. And then Platinum Side says, question, are you doing a video of ships this year for IAE? I don't know if we're doing a video for ships for IAE. I know we're doing, we'll be creating whatever the newest ships are for Fleet Viewer. Personally, I hope they're all flight ready. That way VMXEO can do a lot of the work. The Zeus for Fleet Viewer was not easy to do. I'll actually flip over for those of you that have not seen it. We have added a couple ships to Fleet Viewer. We added all 3 Zeus variants, of course. And then we also added the Cutter Scout, which we did not have in. And then we switched out the hollow model version of the Spirit A1 with the flight ready version model, essentially. So, the flight ready models got more detail and stuff on it. Cutter Scout, of course, another ship I picked up, as well as the 3 Zeus variants. The 3 Zeus variants were extremely difficult to do, actually. For those of you that saw my stream 2 nights ago, you'll see the kind of trickery that I had to do to actually get them in the game. It wasn't my usual technique for getting ships into Fleet Viewer, but it worked out. So far, everyone that's reached out has said they really liked the way the Zeus came out, so I'm happy. All right, thank you for that follow. Really appreciate it. My follow alert thing isn't popping up for me. It's Illy. Hopefully I said that right. It's silly. It's Illy. Either way, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and get into there was the question about land claims. We're actually going to get into that in just a minute, because we're going to watch the base building panel. It's not super long. It's about 10 minutes long. I wanted to watch that and do kind of a react to that, have some discussions about it. I do own a Pioneer with a land claim beacon and all that good stuff. So we'll watch that. I think we'll be able to answer some of the questions, especially regarding land claims. And then we're going to talk about the vehicles that will be participating in base building. So yeah, we'll look at that in just a second. Before we do that, I did want to get to kind of the big news of the night, which is CIG has announced that the Pyro preview channel schedule. So they put that out. So they've got right here listed all the days from essentially October 31st all the way to November 14th. So essentially this is going to run pre-IAE, and then once IAE happens, the first round of Pyro testing will end on the preview channel. New Soul Sounds, salute to you. Hope you're well. essentially are just testing Pyro here. It's a limited test, so not the entire system is not available. It's the exact same test from SitCon, the exact same test. So I think they said they put a few bug fixes in it, but it's essentially the same. They do say that it'll be an 8-hour test each day, and they'll be rotating between time zones. Okay, I'm kind of looking off. Looks like I'm looking this way, but I'm actually looking towards the screen. They'll be rotating between different time zones to accommodate the global audience, and they will be randomly selecting from random test or most active testers, concierge members, and those that acquired the digital goodies pack for CitizenCon. I do hope the digital Citizen Con goodies pack people are picked up pretty quickly, because I felt like they kind of advertised it as such to the degree that like I picked up one of those. So I'm hoping that it translates into being able to check out Pyro. I personally think they're going to, within these first 14 days, 15 days of testing here, this first testing period of Pyro, I have a feeling if you're wanting to test it, you're probably going to get the opportunity. So I wouldn't get too concerned if you don't get an invite like day one. I think you will get one. It might just take a little bit of time for that to roll through. So yeah, this is happening. They have done some replies down here. Just some people kind of already complaining about if how they're going to be able to get in and stuff, and not complaining, but bringing up the fact. Xylo answers a lot of that. The biggest one I think of importance is this one here. Xylo essentially said this is the email you should receive if you get invited. So be on the lookout for that. It'll just say Explore Pyro, and this will be, you be careful though, because sometimes these emails go into my promotions or my promotions bucket in Google or in Gmail, and I miss them. So be sure to check all your spam and all that good stuff, and just kind of keep an eye out for this email. Let's see here. Hey, Stunner, what's up? Getting a good crowd in chat here. Hope everyone is well. Again, thanks for hanging out tonight. If you haven't followed the channel already, please do. I appreciate that support. All right, so we're going to get into it. We're going to look at the destination adventure panel. Now, they talked about a bunch of stuff here. They talked about some of the environmental stuff. They talked about the distribution centers, which I am definitely going to do a video about at some point. I want to talk a little bit about that because I see these as having a really major role in the future of the game in several different ways. They then talked about things like raids and other things centered around those structures. Again, a lot to talk about there. The next big one I think I definitely want to talk about soon is just the expanded definitions of cargo gameplay, how the freight elevators are going to work. I have a lot of opinions on the freight elevator system. All good, actually. Everything I saw looked really, really great. So I do want to talk about that. And so again, they talked about freight. They talked about the freight elevators and hangars and all that. But what we're going to focus on at first tonight is the Todd Pappy base building panel. Again, if you watched me on Info Runners on the second day, I kind of had a really piss poor reaction to this because I was kind of so stunned that it was happening. But anyway, let's go ahead and watch. Hopefully you have the sound. Let me know if you don't. If chat wouldn't mind pinging that you're hearing it. I'm going to be stopping at various times based off certain information they say and talk a little bit more about it. So here we go.
Come on, I can't hear you. All right, there we go. So, we'll be talking today about something special. It's an update on something that we talked about a little while ago, but we feel it's the future of Star Citizen, and it's the culmination of multiple different game systems coming together. So why don't you play the video?
Depends.
Shimpasta, I hope you're well. Triple Helix in chat. Triple, thank you for my awesome keychain. Still rocking it. Exactly. You hear the crowd get wild when they see the land claim. What we're seeing here is probably rough concept models of the base building modular pieces. These are probably concept models, if I had to guess. Obviously some sort of land miner. Resource harvesting, exactly, Feathers. Showing some of the large connecting causeways, like hallway tunnel pieces that we'll be able to create. Again, they're enclosed here, but this will be really nice on hostile planets where you don't want to venture outside. Hydroponics lab. You also saw some solar panels drop in there. Yeah, socially, we'll talk a little bit about that after.
All right, so base building. All right, it breaks down into two really large.
Real quick, I wanted to point out that this is, believe it or not, is not the first time CIG has done a panel on base building. If you didn't know, they also did, let me connect it here, stand by, bear with me. So they also did this video called, this was from 6 years ago. Oh my gosh, this is a long time ago. This was when they introduced the Pioneer. They ended up doing a 45-minute long panel discussion called the Consolidated Outland Pioneer from CitizenCon 2947. But in this video, they go pretty in depth as well surrounding things like land claims, how the terrain is divided up. We might reference some of this as the video goes. For now, I'll flip back over to Destination Adventure, but just know that if you ever wanted to see this one, let me just copy that. I'll paste it into chat here. That there's another video. You should go save it for later and watch it. It's pretty interesting as well. All right, let's switch back over to Destination Adventure and keep on trucking. Again, sorry if I missed some of the stuff in chat. I will say Socially Confused, they did show off previously that Rastar used other types of buildings, sort of like ones that were like real cluttered and stuff. I think what we're seeing here is just our first iteration of like standard base building blueprints. Remember, these buildings are going to be built from blueprints. And these are probably just your standard run-of-the-mill ones, but there's probably going to be blueprints you can get from other groups and styles and gangs and stuff that allow you to build different types of buildings. I just think that the tier 0 implementation of this will be these kind of basic ones here that are kind of, their aesthetic is probably a little bit more UEE neutral. So let's get started.
Large gameplay sections, planning ahead and prepping And then you've got the on-site where you're actually going to build. So with that, you need to figure out what your goal is. Is it to have a home with a nice view and relax? Is it to have a trading post where you want to create and sell items? Is it to gather resources available and move on to the next area? Or is it to be off grid and be completely self-sufficient? So with that, with your prep and everything like that, we've got blueprints. So the recipes, everything in the game is fabricated from a blueprint. Players acquire blueprints via reputation rewards, missions, or rare NPCs. With any blueprint, you can actually do research on it and then create different variations.
So, I mean, one thing I'll be interested to hear about this sort of research gameplay, where you'll be able to research blueprints and then be able to build bigger and better versions of that particular item, is while they don't say it here, I wonder if that is sort of our tier 0 implementation of science gameplay, just because it does involve research. We've talked a little bit, or we've heard a little bit before about how the Endeavor will, have a research module and all that kind of stuff. So again, they never specifically say it, but I think this could be sort of some sort of tier 0 science gameplay.
Materials ranging from the common to ultra rare, you might find them at the local shop or have to travel around the universe to collect them. Unrefined, refined, simple materials, or even complex components will all go into the fabrication. With this, then you've got location, location, location. First area is high security, so you must purchase the land. The base is actually invulnerable because of the planetary shield tech. A security will show up to protect it as well. You pay for the privilege, you're taxed. So at this point, you won't have the best resources available. You won't have access to the best resources available on the planet. If you don't pay your taxes, the shields will go away after a period of time and the base will become derelict and will collapse. But this is low risk, low reward.
So my big question was with this is they talked about the planetary shield tech. Does anyone know if they've said that before or mentioned that before in terms of, these land claims that are in UEE controlled high sec space being essentially invulnerable? I mean, he actually used the word invulnerable, which I take as, completely impervious to damage or destruction. I find that kind of interesting. I actually like that idea. I like the idea that some players who again are not into PvP, they're frustrated by PvP, it can turn them off. I like the fact that they still have the option to build bases in high sec space for lower rewards, but with little to no risk. I mean, obviously, if they don't pay their taxes for the land claim itself, those property taxes and fees, then security will drop around their base, essentially. Obviously, they talked about security showing up to help fight, but I'm more interested in that invulnerable terminology used in relation to the high sec space stuff. Chat's saying never mentioned, but I assume it means a free invincible local shield for the base, not the whole planet. That's what I'm assuming as well. Chapti, hopefully I'm saying that right. Let's continue on because they talk about a few other interesting things here.
Then you've got low security. So again, you must purchase the land. It's owned by an independent corp, gang.
Oh, did they, Joran? Okay,
again,
I'll have to look for that.
You don't have access to all the best resources on the planet. The base is vulnerable. AI NPCs will show up and protect the base if it's attacked. The protection will escalate over time. Player can also build defenses to help mitigate this as well. And then it's medium reward, medium risk. Then you've got lawless. So this is no protection other than what you build. There's shields, anti-air.
Okay, shields and
anti-air.
anti-air.
The shields by getting close to them and destroying them. High risk, high reward. Since there's no taxes, no protection fees, you get a high return on the resources that you collect. Now, there's some cross-shard and server meshing considerations that will kind of adjust this design in the future, but we'll get into that later once we're really building it.
So that was pretty interesting. So obviously we have the 3 security levels of base building: high sec, low sec, and lawless. I think all of us sort of had a good idea of how that was gonna, of how that was going to fall out when they sort of mentioned the high sec. We kind of knew there would probably be a low sec and a lawless. Again, the invulnerability with the high sec space was kind of interesting to me. But then he also said that there would be changes to this design, or some slight adjustments to this design based off shard and meshing tech. If you reference back to one of those original server meshing discussions, I forget which one it was. It might have been that like design brief episode they did on ISC. They talked a little bit about how depending on which server you're actively playing on, or which shard, your base could be in a read-only state or possibly in a read-write state, again, depending on where you currently sit. So if you're not on that shard and your base just exists on the replication layer and is sent out to the others, then it's sent out as a read-only state, so essentially invulnerable, and thus not active. It's more just like props positioned on a planet or a moon or whatever. I'm assuming that's how they're approaching this. It's they've just started developing this, or they're going to start developing this in beginning of the year, January 2024. So at the very least, we're going to probably get a lot of updates next year while it's in design on the updates and stuff surrounding it, right? Again, if you go back to the other CitizenCon video regarding how land claims and stuff work, they do get into it a little bit. I am real curious to see how much of this is carried over. Again, it's still Todd Pappy and a lot of the same guys talking about it. So I think there's still going to be a lot of this stuff that carries over. Let me go. Where is it? Sorry, stand by. They talked about this in this original video. They talked about knowledge, which is essentially being able to scan a planetary surface, find areas that have good good resources and all that kind of stuff, high value land, and that data having value, the current market value, level of uncertainty, all that stuff, location. Again, they're mentioning a lot of this stuff. I personally don't think it's changed all that much, their overall design. It'll just be interesting to me, because I really love this panel. It'll be interesting to see how much of this flows into the new design. But as we've seen with CIG, sometimes a lot of their old ideas are still there, mostly intact, and then they'll bring them back out of the they'll bring them back out of storage, and I'm usually a little shocked at how little has changed. So something to keep in mind. Let's go back to this. So this is an interesting part where they start talking about tools of the trade, and we'll probably diverge here a little bit and talk about ships. If any of you have questions or comments about some of the ships and stuff, I'd love to hear them. So let's go ahead and hit play again.
So from here, you've got the tools. So this is what we would consider a surveyor. With this, we want to actually cater to everybody's playstyle, whether you're solo or in an org. With this, you got different buildings that you can produce, from small, medium to large to XL or XL. So with the surveyor tool, you can only build the small buildings. With a vehicle, you can build small and medium-sized buildings. With the Galaxy, you can build small to large structures. And then obviously with the Pioneer can do it all, and it still works as a mobile base, and we'll talk about some of the more expanded features that we're adding to it and later on. So
let's pause there for a minute. So what was funny about that? I don't know what the rest of you think. I'm not sure if I'd be curious to know if Execute, if you were surprised by this, but to me, I thought that the Galaxy would have gotten the bigger cheer when they said that it was going to be involved in base building, but yet it was still the Pioneer that got that cheer from the audience, or at least that's the way it sounded like from the broadcast. The Pioneer is a crowd favorite. I think there's something magical about that ship. It still has it has one of the best commercials, like ship commercials, in the Star Citizen ship commercial. Uh, you know, plethora of videos. It's on YouTube. I mean, I would definitely put my two favorite trailers as the Kraken and the Pioneer, and I'm not sure which order. The only thing that would have made this presentation better is if Todd Pappy had come out dressed as, what's his name, Silas Corner or whatever, the Consolidated Outlet CEO, and did this pitch. That'd have been great. So let's step back a little bit. So the first thing they talked about was the Surveyor tool, which is sort of a hover trolley that you can build small structures. Now, I don't know about you, but I mean, I'm looking at this thing and I don't totally get how it builds structures. I would love to see what the functionality of this thing is. The fact that they're saying Surveyor makes me feel like it almost sounds like it's surveying small parts of land, and thus by surveying a small area of land, that then opens up the ability to go to an almost RTS Rastar, top down view and set a small building. So it's what, to me, the way I'm reading it, I'd love to hear if any of you in chat think differently. To me, it's almost like the size of the vehicle, whether it's the Surveyor hover trolley, the Galaxy, the Mule, or the Pioneer. To me, it seems like the size of the vehicle slates how big of a parcel of land it can survey for buildings. So again, it's a little hard to gauge, but that's sort of what I'm getting from this. But that I heard some people say, and I even wondered this myself, if this hover trolley surveyor tool was in fact the Argo MCV, that manufacturing vehicle that was somewhat leaked. What was that, last year? I think last year. I don't think it is. Yeah, I don't think it is. I honestly think if it was, he would have just called it out as such. I could be wrong. It doesn't look Argo to me. Well, maybe it does a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. What does everyone in chat think? Do you think that this surveyor tool is like the Argo MCV, or do you think it's just the Argo MCV is just another manufacturing ship that'll fit in a class? Because we need something that's a little bit lower than the Galaxy, in my opinion. We need like one step below that. I think it's different. Yeah. So it looks like the Mule will have a role to play in this. I would love for them to get ground vehicles more tied into the base gameplay, the outpost base building gameplay. I think there's ways to do that. It looks like they're considering it by putting it down here. They could be cool. Like maybe there's a Mule variant that is a surveyor as well. That could be kind of cool. Let's continue back on here. So the next thing they showed off was this ground vehicle, obviously built off the Ballista chassis, but bigger, quite a bit longer, if I remember correctly, because this thing has 2, 4, 6, 7 axles, 7 axles. So they're saying that this vehicle, which they don't name, supports the ability to build small to medium structures. So it's kind of interesting. I could see us with a ship that can build medium structures. So I could maybe see an Argo MCV type craft being able to do that. We'll see if that's in fact the case, but I could see them having a ship that fits in between that hover trolley and this. The ground vehicle, one of the biggest things with it is it looks huge, and I don't know what carries that. I mean, the only thing I could think that could carry that would be a C2, right? Obviously, it's built off the Ballista chassis, but have we ever seen this Have we ever seen this rear end before that's on this vehicle? I don't think we ever have. I don't remember ever seeing it. No, Shimpasta says no. Yeah. Yeah, VG, a Liberator could definitely carry it. I was just talking about like new, like currently flyable ships. I think the only thing we have that could carry this massive thing would be a C2 at this point. And then obviously they talked about the Galaxy. So during the Galaxy's pledge, it was mentioned that it would, as a matter of fact, I wonder if I can bring that up. Let's see here. Where's the Galaxy? Let's see if we can pull it up here for those of you that have either bought a Galaxy or were considering buying a Galaxy. Where is it? Stand by. Stand by. Let's go to, oops, not that. We're going to go to this page. So I'm going to bring over this one here. So this is the Galaxy's concept page. It's pretty clear here. I mean, this was never anything that was hidden from everyone. They say, you know, modules, they kind of list out the modules. They say the cargo module, the hospital module, the refinery module, and then they specifically say manufacturing and other modules coming at a later date. Obviously, the manufacturing module is our base building module. See, that future manufacturing module is what really got me excited, and it looks super. So, yeah, I mean, it was actually one of the modules that got me the most excited for the Galaxy as well, Jordan. I'm one of those people that when a new ship is announced, one of the first things I look for, so a lot of people look for numbers on ships, right? They'll look at the component numbers, how many turrets it has, you know, other factoids about the ship that are like hard numbers like that. I don't look at any of that stuff because I know it's going to change. The only thing I really look at on a ship is flexibility and its role, right? So when the Galaxy was announced, two things stuck out to me. And one of the first things I look for is there a cargo variant or cargo variant or module version of a ship? The reason that matters to me is because every ship I get, it's always stuck in my mind what John Cruz said in an Invictus about 3 years ago or maybe 4 years ago, when John Cruz said that ships will have to pay, you know, hangar fees and upkeep costs and all that stuff. So every ship I look at in terms of it paying for itself, right? It being able to pay for its own upkeep, right? Triple says, I wonder if I say I own a Galaxy / Pioneer, can I rent my services out to other players, such as Grim needs a building that requires Pioneer? Yeah, I think you'll be able to do that, Triple. I think they know that not everyone owns these ships. They definitely know not everyone owns a Pioneer or a Galaxy, and they're going to allow us to help others with that. But anyway, I do look for ships that have cargo variants because, or in the case of the Galaxy, it has a cargo module, because cargo is going to be one of the most straightforward ways for a ship to earn its keep, right? And sort of pay for itself. So once I saw that it had that, I was already starting to go, you know, it had a refinery module, which, believe it or not, I'll talk a little bit about my gameplay style, and I may bring up my fleet here in a minute. But my gameplay style is very much centered around, I don't want to use the word passive gameplay loops, but probably more niche gameplay loops, right? With cargo being the most common one I'm into. But I'm for example, when it comes to combat, I'm going to be the guy in the mine layer, right? When it comes to industrial roles, I think I'm going to be the guy possibly doing salvage or doing refining or something like that. So the refinery module, and again, it appealed to me because think about it like this: those roles that are going to be more niche are going to be, market prices are going to dictate their value. And if we're out in some far flung system like Nick's and not a lot of people like playing the refueler and flying their Starfarers around, yeah, well, if there's not a lot of people doing that, then you're going to be able to set some pretty high prices for things like fuel or whatever else, right? Or if you're flying a Kraken and you're flying through some far-flung system and you're offering repair services for people to come land on the ship and do repairs, and there's no one out there doing that, there's maybe one other person out there with a crucible, but that's about it. You're going to be able to adjust your rates based off the need. So for me, I've always been a little bit attracted to some of those secondary professions. I think of base building, I think of base building being one of those. Now, not necessarily on the small to large spectrum, because I do think the Galaxy will be a common ship, primarily because it's priced so affordably. But what I do think is going to be rare are, ships like the Pioneer, right? I do think that'll be a rare, hard to come by ship. And it's currently still hull limited. I can see that changing. Maybe that's a conversation. I need to do a better model of the Pioneer. But I see the Pioneer being a ship that, being still a kind of a rare ship. Correct me, what's the price of the Pioneer? Does anyone in chat know? I own one, but I can't remember what the cost was. Feathers says 850, Triple says 900. Probably different depending on war bond or credit. 850. Okay, so somewhere around there. It's expensive, right? And definitely when this ship goes flight ready, I see it going up in price, especially with the expanded roles that they're talking about with the Pioneer. Because if you go back to the video, one of the things they say there is the Pioneer can first off build it all, which is nice. It's not going to be limited to just. So essentially, what these ships do, and I could be reading this wrong again, but it sounds like those specific ships unlock certain levels of surveying, right? So Pioneer allows you to survey an estate-sized piece of land, or I forget what the other one's called. But anyways, it allows you to survey those larger plots of land. I'm still interested to see if the Pioneer is actually. I think the Pioneer is going to be a ship that doesn't land, by the way. I think they're going to change it to where the Pioneer sort of hovers above the area that's going to build, and it builds that way. I'm just saying. The Pioneer is still going to be a mobile base. They're exploring in-space options. I think that is something that may be preserved for the Pioneer, something to keep it a little special. Not that I don't think that the Pioneer should have some competition. Maybe a future ship, maybe a future like Argo ship or something could be really cool. I don't think CIG is going to be in a big rush to make a competitor to the Pioneer, though, specifically because one thing that was pretty obvious in the Pioneer commercial is that the Pioneer is kind of a first of its kind ship, even in lore. I'm no astropub, but I think that the Pioneer is sort of positioned by Consolidated Outlands as being kind of a first of its kind type ship. Yeah, who needs a space station when you have an Endeavor? Well, socially confused brings up an interesting point, and I don't think they're wrong in that we need to not forget that your ship can be your base too, right? So if you own a Kraken, you own a Carrack, you own a Constellation, 400i, I mean, you can live on those ships. You can stock it with supplies, stock it with food, and you can live there. So we're all going to be able to experience that home away from home thing. But what's really going to be interesting regarding the base building is what missions and ways to earn money from your base, are built into the system. For example, the hydroponics and all that stuff. You're going to be able to farm stuff and then sell it. So that's going to be interesting. Your bases are going to be a way to generate passive income, I think, or maybe not passive, but generate income. Ostentatious One says, did you check if the Zeus fits in the Polaris yet, Grim? Looks like it might, but got in diagonally. I have not checked yet, Ostentatious. I could possibly try that towards the end of my stream, only because sometimes opening Cinema 4D makes my computer want to cry a little bit if I'm trying to stream it. So I may wait till the end of the stream, but I will try that. Try not to let me forget. Let's keep watching.
So from here, you set off on your journey. So with the land claim, you put your tool down where you want, you launch the drone that is built into the machine, and then from there, this allows the player to access the base building and also land claim mode. With the land claim modes, the player can actually change the size and position of what area they want to claim, and it also shows you the cost and taxes associated with it. If it's in a taxable zone and you don't own the land, this interface will default to it. So if you own land or it's in a lawless area, it'll automatically go to base building mode.
I'm going to pause real quick here. You see these drones that have the 3D printing lasers? I'd love to hear from chat. What do y'all think? Do you think these drones are what's going to be building our bases, or do you think this is just concept art to sort of show us the vibe of base building? I don't believe I'd ever seen drones or heard of drones being used for building, but does anyone know for sure? I think it is just concept art at this stage, somebody, but I just didn't know if this concept art was indicative of how we're going to be building stuff in the future. Platinum Sniper says those probably come from the Surveyor cart and other modules. Very possible, yeah. Very possible. I could see that being the case. Yeah. Sort of like a 3D printed sort of thing, yeah. And maybe they're, up here in this part is loaded up with materials, right? Maybe it's got a little holding area for materials. Be interesting to see. Personally, I'm okay with them gamifying this a little bit, meaning that when the Pioneer, for example, builds something, I'm okay. I want the Pioneer to move and transform and do something that shows it's building, but I don't need to literally see it outputting pieces and setting them down and all that. I just think there needs to be an interplay. I don't even care if it's done with lasers. Like if the Pioneer just hovers over an area with giant building lasers firing down, I'm okay with a little gamification here. Sometimes I worry about the intrinsic realism being so detailed that it will truly take forever for this game to get made. So, there's a balance there. You don't want it to all be space lasers, but it's to some degree, I'm okay with a little bit of that. Let's continue on.
So with the overhead view of the land, you can actually place down buildings exactly where you want. You can see the resources beneath the surface, and then you can also place multiple buildings before you actually build. So you can see how it will all kind of come together. You'll see the resources that are needed for it. And then you can also switch back and forth between different modes, which are showing off the resource network and how you link basically power generators to consumers. And then the player can move or deconstruct existing buildings right now with no charge. Fabrication. So when you basically build these buildings, they don't come with any furnishings. And if you didn't bring any with you, then you want to build a fabricator. So depending on what you want to build, there's different sizes of them that support buildings from decorations, armor, weapons, components, and even ships. So like base building mode, you need blueprints, resources to craft what you want. Everything fabricated is produced it produces a physicalized entity. Stats and quality will depend on the quality of the materials actually used. Once you've done that and you've built your decorations, now you can actually fill the room the way that you want to fill it. So furnishings can be purchased at different locations, or they can actually be fabricated. You can do that via first person or in a dedicated mode in the Surveyor's tool.
Okay, so you can either do it in first person, probably with some sort of tool, or using the surveyor tool for fabrication. I almost wonder if some of that ship will be, or some of that functionality will be built into some of the ships. So, for example, I have a feeling that the Pioneer probably has a fabrication station, right? So not only is it building bases, you could fabricate furniture from there. It kind of does it all, right? Like you said before.
With that, you've got different types of buildings. So you've got utility style, which would be garages, freight elevators, landing pads, storefronts. And then you've got extractors. So with extractors, we want to make sure that nothing in regards to resource gathering is fully automated. A level of player engagement is always needed. So as Nick talked about before, there are different types of commodities, radioactive, perishable, etc. What you'll be doing is pulling out full containers. Then from there, it'll be repairing, or there's wear and tear associated with it, or even misfires like you saw in Thorsten's talk and Guillermo's talk yesterday.
So he said that, as you're using some of these extractors where it's drills and pumps, mining laser, water extractor, I can actually see other like gas refining and stuff like that. If you go back to the beginning of this panel, we'll jump back here, but there's a moment where you actually sort of see this occur. Yeah, right here. You can see right here, these boxes start stacking up from the drilling laser right here. There you go. The boxes are populating in. So I can see there being in the future some sort of like pad that's sitting there that as boxes are generated, it just starts putting them on your pad. Use it back to where we were.
Etc. What you'll be doing is pulling out full containers. Then from there, it'll be repairing, or there's wear and tear associated with it, or even misfires like you saw in Thorsten's talk and Guillermo's talk yesterday. There's also upgrade paths for making them more efficient or resilient. Power generators. So with different types of power generators, there'll be some that are more cost-effective as well as effective in different areas. Solar panels will not always work in darkness. Fuel generators will need to be filled up every now and then batteries to store excess power. Then you've got producers. So things that will require the players to combine different resources to produce new items. And then you've got defense. So anti-air, anti-personnel, and then shield generators. And then the big one. We start development Q1.
So let's back up here for a minute. Let's go to building types, because they kind of run through a bunch of this stuff. And if you really start to add all these up, there's quite a few. So we have extractors, obviously, mining laser, drills and pumps, water extractor. We have garages, freight elevators. Again, freight elevators. We've been hearing about this, and they talked a little bit about this at the beginning of the panel. We've seen some of that early work on the freight elevators. I think they carry 960 SCU of cargo. Not sure if our base ones will be able to do the same. But what does that mean? That means our bases, our outposts, can be a way station for cargo. Again, the sky's the limit here if CIG allows us to lean into emergent gameplay. If they say, hey, if you have an outpost, we're going to let you be free, sell stuff from there, set up a shop there, do cargo transfers there, all that good stuff. Suddenly, just through this one gameplay loop of base building, right, this whole system, you've actually created a ton of different gameplay loops that the players can build and maintain themselves and keep us busy while we wait for CIG to bring on full-scale gameplay loops that are in parallel to that. So again, what they need to be able to do with this is they need to free us up as players to use our outposts for various things. They need to give us a beacon system to alert people in different ratings and with different ratings and stuff we need a more robust beacon system. We need a more robust org system, and most importantly, we need an economy. No, not an economy. Sorry, we need some sort of marketplace, some way to sell these things. And I think at first it could just be something as simple as kiosks that you go to, or a mobiGlas app that you can get that is essentially the eBay of Star Citizen, and you can buy and sell your stuff on there. So again, talked about garages, freight elevators, landing pads, storefronts. Well, okay, sorry, I didn't even read that last one, storefronts. So what they're saying here again is we're going to be able to build our own gameplay loops straight from here. I imagine the storefronts are player driven and not NPC driven, if I had to guess. Let's see, let's go to the next one. The other building types are geothermal power generators, solar panels, fuel generators, windmills, fusion power, batteries. Okay. Some of this is going to be dependent probably on the planet you're on, right? So I could see this, for example, if you're on a planet that's heavy fog, heavy smog, that kind of stuff, solar panels are probably not going to be the most efficient thing. You're going to want to put in, maybe geothermal, right? If you're on a planet that has a lot of high winds, maybe the windmills. So I could see planet scanning, or scanning with like the cutter, or maybe the MSR or something like that, or Terrapin or whatever. That's going to come into play. Being able to get weather readouts and planetary readouts on moons and planets and stuff like that, and getting an understanding of what what the weather is, what the makeup of that surrounding terrain is, mining deposits, mineral deposits, all that stuff. Weather, solar activity, all that good stuff is going to inform you a bit on what parts and pieces to use to build your structure or your base. And then they talked about power generators. Oh, nope, I just read that one. Sorry. They talked about producers, right? So these are things that produce things for you to sell, right? So fabricators, hydroponics, refineries, and pharmaceuticals. I mean, you can see right away that some of that touches on different things. Hydroponics touches on farming, right? A lot of people thought, well, we won't get to farm until we have our Olympic class endeavors. Well, that may not be true. Looks like we might be farming in hydroponics labs before that. Fabricators, we're going to be able to build things, probably be able to build ships, other stuff like that. Refineries, that touches on industrial gameplay, works with mining and salvage. And then pharmaceuticals, again, going back into medical and science gameplay and possibly research and stuff like that. So you can quickly see how all this touches all the gameplay loops. So by focusing their development efforts on base building and really building that out, they can take as long as they need to on the gameplay loops. Like, a lot of those big gameplay loops that we thought were specifically tied to ships, we'll be able to start experiencing that stuff long before that ship is online. I know it constantly comes up. I don't know if Execute is still in chat, but it's been said many times on InfoRunners, and I believe John Cruz said it, that the Endeavor will be one of the last ships to be made, probably just because of the amount of gameplay loops needed for it. One of the good things is that thank you for the follow. Hi, thank you so much for that follow. You just sent the javelin overhead. Appreciate it. But one of the things that is going to happen by way of these outposts and this whole base building mechanic is that a lot of these systems are going to come online and pave the way for some of those ships that we thought were going to be way far out. Again, if they're tackling all this under the guise of base building, this could be a good thing for some of us who are looking forward to ships like the Endeavor and stuff like that. I mean, if you really start to think about it, a ship like the Endeavor relies on a couple things, right? For one, it relies on modularity, right? The next thing it relies on is a robust MISC design language and asset pack, okay? Third thing it relies on is all the different gameplay loops required for those modules. Well, the modularity is being solved. We already saw that the Retaliator and the Galaxy are coming. The Retaliator rework, I mean, and the Galaxy are coming, which means modularity is coming to some degree. They've stated that multiple times, that they want the Galaxy to come on board with modularity. They've talked about well, first off, the MISC design language is well established at this point, and all the gameplay loops. Again, this will fill that gap. So again, it may not be 25 years from now that the Endeavor is in a place that it can be built. I'm exaggerating, of course. You never know. It might be something a lot sooner than we think. And by a lot sooner, meaning maybe it's in the next 5 years. Let's continue on. I think it's close to the end.
To combine different resources to produce new items. And then you've got defense. So anti-air, anti-personnel, and then shield generators. And then the big one.
So let's talk about this for a minute. They showed Joran was right. They show the shield generator right here. Well, they don't show the generator, but they show the shield. So I wonder if it will be a visible bubble over it, or if it'll be more like our bases where when they get hit by fire, you see the shield flicker. That'd be interesting. I actually would think it'd be pretty cool to have like a big bubble shield over your place. But they say anti-air turrets, anti-personnel turrets, so both air and ground targeting turrets, and shield generators, right? So yeah, real cool. The only thing I would personally love to see in the defense category would possibly be security or like mines would be kind of interesting. The only tricky thing with mines is these anti-air turrets are probably positioned on your land claim if I had to guess, like not past the line. It's probably within your boundary of your land claim. So with mines, I could see that being slightly problematic in that you technically would want to build those out of your perimeter, not in your perimeter. Socially confused brings up walls. I don't think walls would work, just simply because people with ships could just fly right over them real easily. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's probably anti-air turrets, anti-personnel turrets is the right way to go. I can tell you right now that above my base, especially if I'm building in a lawless area, above my base, I'm going to have my Nautilus deploy mines like kind of over the orbital area of my base, probably once a week or once every 2 weeks, deploy mines. And again, I know a lot of people are like, well, mines aren't going to do much. I've said multiple times that I think people are vastly underestimating the Nautilus. If you've seen the Spirit size 5 bombs, first off, those size 5 bombs pack some serious punch. Okay, I don't know if you've done any testing with them, but they really do pack a punch. Me and Ender were testing them, and yeah, they do pack a punch. In addition, the Nautilus can deploy 24 size 5 mines, and those mines are homing mines, so they can track into targets. And I can't exactly remember. I know John Crew mentioned it in was it Q&A? It may have been a Q&A that it was mentioned in, but it was mentioned that they estimate those mines can track across like 15,000 kilometers or 15 kilometers or something. I forget how long, but it's a pretty big area. And if you space that out by 24 mines, you create a pretty big warning net. So while I don't need the mines to necessarily destroy anything, just being able to have a Nautilus on patrol, and when one of its mines goes into a homing state and starts tracking, the Nautilus, at least at that point, the security line's been breached and that someone is, crossing the net. So I see the Nautilus in minefields is less of a way to destroy ships and more of a way to let other ships or bases know that ships have entered your area. Because you're using a minefield as a sort of security net. Let's continue.
We start development Q1. So
start development in Q1.
That's me. Thank you all. Thank you for coming. It's wonderful to see you.
It's always cool when Todd Pappy talks. Again, gameplay director. So obviously he's going to be involved in big scope gameplay stuff, especially if he's directly involved. There's obviously a lot of teams that deal with gameplay stuff for the PU, but the fact that Todd Pappy came out specifically to announce base building and went on record essentially in saying that development will start Q1. I think they were planting a flag into the ground a little bit and saying, hey, look, not only is this going to development, this is going to be a gameplay priority for the PU gameplay teams. Now, somebody says on Twitch, somebody says, I expect it to take 2 years before we see it. I don't think that's unreasonable. I don't think that's an unreasonable estimate at all. My hopium wants us to get maybe parts and pieces of it at a smaller level, like maybe end of next year. And by that, I mean like maybe the small bases could be built using like a mule or a surveyor, just small base stuff. And then maybe the following year they bring in the vehicle based stuff or possibly the Galaxy. And then maybe another year past that or 2 years, we get to Pioneer. But I don't think that's unreasonable to say 2 years before we have kind of a decent representation of base building. But for me personally, I don't know how the rest of you all feel. I mean, I thought base building was going to be 5 years away. I mean, I honestly didn't know. And that's just when they start working on it. So it's, to me, as someone who backed this, one of the reasons I backed this game was for base building. Sorry, everyone, I have to shift a little bit. My knees are so bad. I got to constantly shift positions. Just to know that it's A, going into development, but B, that it's obviously important to them. If it wasn't important to them, there would have been a lower level CIG PU dev come out to talk about it, not Todd Pappy to close out one of the last panels. The reason they did it this way is because this is going to be a big deal for them. Excuse me. Again, I do encourage you to go back and watch this panel, the one I linked to earlier, all about land claims and building. It's also really good.
And then you're attaching weapons, you're attaching ordnance, you're attaching utility items. It's the same idea here.
You can see here, they're talking a lot about the same stuff, right? Habitation, armory, storage, med stations, mining and refining, hydroponics, oil and gas extractors. Again, they were talking about extractors, solar panels, moisture extractor. Those are the water pumps, geothermal, landing pads, turrets. A lot of this stuff hasn't changed. So again, if you're really interested, I would go back and look at this original Pioneer video. It's pretty great. As a matter of fact, because I'm a sucker for a good. Jordan says, I would say 2 to 3 years minimum because of the gameplay systems. Yeah, I do agree with you, Jordan. The only thing I will say, and I am probably a little drunk on hopium, I get that, and I'm sure if Starlet is listening, she's shaking her head right now saying grim, right? So, but I will say that I've got a little bit of hopium, and that I do think stand by. And that I do think that since people are coming off of Squadron 42 development and shifting over into the PU, again, it was one of the things overheard by developers on the SitCon show floor that a large majority of developers are moving over into the PU now. We saw that with John Crew and the ship team when he announced that the ship team is now at 28 people, which is the biggest they've ever been. And I think a lot of that has to do with them tying up Squadron 42 ships. So I think it's hard to know. I don't want to sit here and say we're going to see an increase in the speed of gameplay delivered to the PU, but I hope that's what it means. I assume that's what it means when more people are coming over. Hey, Pops in Space, hope you're well, buddy. Salute to you. I was just calling out the Soul Citizens earlier today for bringing me back this amazing poster here. Let me switch back over real quick. I got to show this off again. Look at this. This is one of our Fleet Viewer posters signed by the Soul Citizens, all the amazing people over at Soul Citizens, as well as a bunch of CIG devs. We got Aaron Roberts, we got Disco Lando, we got Xylo, we got all of the peeps. So that was super cool. I was real excited to get that. They sent one for Starlet and Ender as well. So Soul Citizens getting the big double salute. Jordan says, yeah, but not so much gameplay engineers. Those are their scarcest resource, and they're trying to hire like 30 more. Yeah, I mean, you could totally be right, Jordan. I mean, I would definitely trust you over some of that stuff. I know you kind of have your ear to the ground on a lot of that, and I could totally see that. I mean, look, if someone said to me, hey, Grim, we're looking at 3 years before base building's in, it wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't shock me. But on the flip side to that, I'm just glad it's in development. There's two primary things I backed the game for. Two primary things. The first one was base building, being able to build my own place, not just build my own home, but build my own whatever I want it to be, right? And then the next one was large scale cargo running. That was kind of like being the space trucker. And so it's exciting time for me right now that cargo is heavily in development, freight elevators, cargo missions, manual cargo loading. They got the Hull C in the game. That was a big milestone. And then obviously seeing that base building's even going into production. Because I'll be honest with you, if you had asked me 5 months ago when I thought base building was coming, I would have been like 2027, like in terms of going into development. So nice to see it's progressing forward. By the way, we got a bunch of people in chat. Super great to see everybody hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. It was just a little bit of an impromptu stream once again, but I really appreciate you all hanging out. You know, whenever we get a bunch of people in chat, it makes me want to do a poster giveaway. Damn it. It makes me want to do a Fleet Viewer poster giveaway. We might have to do one of those. Let's see here. Jordan says, and I wasn't super into base building with Pioneer due to cost, but after 320 hours in Starfield with a lot of base building, then the Galaxy will do it. I'm way hyped. Yeah, and here's the thing. I personally hope that the Galaxy and the Pioneer can do space station building or space platform building, whatever they want to call them. I hope that both of them can do it. I think I would like the Pioneer to be able to do it in a bigger way. But I hope that I really love that they brought the Galaxy into this base building thing. I overheard another Pioneer owner not complaining about it, but being a little bit like, well, they said the Pioneer was the only way you were going to be able to build bases. And I think we do have to get out of that mindset of that there's going to be these ships that are the only one that does a certain thing. Like the Carrack is going to be the only large explorer, or that, you know, the Pioneer is going to be the only base builder. Obviously they came out with the Odyssey to sort of compete with the Carrack in certain ways and stuff, not one-to-one, but so for me, I was excited that they brought in the Galaxy. I think we could use another ship right below the Galaxy as a base builder. Maybe an Argo ship or something could be cool. Possibly a Crusader ship. I think those could be really cool for base building. Kusanagi says, hey, Admiral, hope you're well. Kusanagi says, just hold on to that signature poster for yourself. Your team deserves them. You guys are great for community. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Salute to you. I hope are you having fun in any Scum lately? I am playing Scum. We have a server. It's very quiet there, though. It's really hard to find a good Scum server. Real quick, though, because I'm a sucker for a good ship commercial, let's watch. Shall we watch the Pioneer commercial? I mean, this is just, we have to watch it, right? Shall we watch the Pioneer commercial since we're all hanging out? Triple says, yep. I mean, it's an easy commercial to want to watch. It's such a good one. I'm going to shut up and let it play because it's a good one.
Such a familiar backdrop of our day-to-day life that it's easy to forget what they mean. That one. That little dot right there. That's Bremen. This one over here, that's Saul. Think about that. Just a Handful of these dots represents the breadth of human expansion. Another handful, and you've got Banner, Jean, even Vandul systems. That's everything we've ever known. Every piece of art, every life, ever.
I'm back.
Right there. In 2 handfuls of dots. Now that means there's so much more to find. Behind every one of those points of light is a story waiting to be discovered. Now in our distant past, it was the province of governments to explore and understand space. Now in our simple launch took resources and money beyond the capacity of even the largest companies. But then RSI introduced the Zeus, and suddenly regular people were able to explore our solar system, allowing an unprecedented amount of knowledge to be discovered. When Nick Croshaw discovered the first jump point, the modified scanner array that allowed him to search for jump points were far too expensive for the civilian market. But once that technology was refined and open to the public, what happened? That's right, an era of expansion that led us from this to this. And that's how it's always been. If you look at all the great eras of human history, whenever innovation has put technology in the hands of the people, it has heralded sweeping discoveries. Because power in the hands of many will always exceed the power of few. So while we can now discover new jump points and systems, there's still one hurdle that remains. That's what to do once you discover a new planet. Because right now, only the largest corporations can terraform and establish settlements. Easy. We haven't simplified terraforming yet. No, I'm here to announce something.
Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it, Rhettoroid.
Albert
Did I say that right?
The man who redefined human
God,
understanding
I hope I'm saying it right. Thank you so much for the follow.
He
Salute.
once said, the person who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd. The person who walks alone is likely to find himself in places no one has ever seen before.
It's a great video.
Sentiment meant to inspire thinkers and creators to push the boundaries.
Thank you, Admiral. Appreciate it. Salute, buddy.
It was, after all, said 1,000 years ago, before humanity had left our homeworld. So clearly he was speaking metaphorically. Today, as I just showed you, the unknown is out there, waiting to be discovered. For those that are looking for those places that no one has seen before, they are faced with a daunting challenge. What do you do when you get there? Up until now, it's been the province.
Thank you, Harley Quinn, for the subscription. Salute to you. Thank you so much.
The power has been in the hands of the few. What if I offered you the ability to build your own settlement?
Such a cool commercial.
To bring civilization to the most untamed of frontiers.
Platinum, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Truest sense of the word.
Thank you so much.
And I'm not talking about just transporting people, no. I'm talking about an all-in-one solution designed to build modular structures based on your needs. Capable of building a farm or a habitat, a trading post or a mining operation. I mean, that'd be crazy, right?
Oh, Harley Quinn, thank you for gifting those 5-tier subs.
The Pioneer.
The Pioneer. Real quick, let's pause for a minute. Harley Quinn hitting us with those 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Thank you so much, Harley Quinn. Thank you, Zombie Pig. And let's see here. Let's scroll on back up. Platinum Sniper subscribed. Harley Quinn subscribed. Kusanagi refollowed. So cool. I really appreciate it. You are all legendary. Triple Helix hitting with the 500 bits. Thank you, man. Salute to you. This community is awesome. Again, thank you everyone for the support. Again, I am getting back into streaming and having a bit more of a social presence, as well as getting back to some major Star Jump projects. I did start editing. Some of the graphic sections of the next Shipyard episode today. I got back to that. Opened the project up, got back to it. Griffin, another 100 bits. Thank you so much, Griff. Salute to you, the Soul Citizens, kicking ass as usual. What we're going to do here is back up just a tad before we had all those wonderful follows and all that good stuff come in. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You all rock and roll. Seriously, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I really do.
Allow me to introduce the Pioneer.
Damn, this ship looks so cool.
With that, let the new age of colonization begin.
Very cool commercial. Very cool commercial. Fire M, you found an issue with the 4K ship image. Was it the Talons having the name Scythe on both of them? Was that it, Fire? If so, I fixed that. Reclaimer? Okay. I guess, you know what? I had fixed all those. I guess I sent out the wrong one again. That happens. I'm juggling a lot, so it's... Oh, yeah, Reclaimer. I see what you posted. Yep. Yep. I'll fix that. I'll have to fix that. It happens, you know? It does happen. I think that's one of my old ones that got... I reposted it for some reason. It's a lot of ships. It's a lot of ships to keep track of. Let's see here. MT Stunner, thank you for those 100 bits, man. Really appreciate it. Salute to you. I appreciate that support. Yeah, Fire, it does happen. I need like an assistant. I need an assistant. Harley Quinn coming with 100 bits now. Oh my gosh, salute to you as well. Yes, we are very close to the hype train. Very, very close to a hype train. 52%. You all are kicking ass today. So real quick, I want to show, I'm going to bring up something. Let me go to, I'm going to bring up another video here. I'm sure you've all seen this, but I wanted to bring up something very specific with it. It's the Hold the Line video. Which one is that? Oh, Triple Helix with 200 more bits. Thank you guys are awesome. My gosh. I can't thank you enough. You all are like being quite insane right now. Quite insane, but I love it. Really appreciate that, Triple. Everyone, don't forget to go to predatormounts.com. Use the Star Jump code, get you 5% off. All right, we got another follow. I saw the Javelin fly by. Who followed? We got, Okay, what do we got here? Griffin donating 5 tier 1 subs. We have Slazar following. Thank you, Slazar. Griff throwing out 5 tier 1 subs. Dude, thank you so much. You did not have to do that. I appreciate it. Giant salute to you. Oh my gosh, we hit level 3 hype train. That's a legendary achievement for this channel with how amateur I am. So thank you. Varvik 2 sending the Javelin overhead. We got Krakens and Javelins flying overhead. Everyone, I should probably tell you, I've got some really cool new ship emotes that are coming. They are definitely coming. So hopefully you all get to see them soon. I've come up with some really cool stuff, including I've got a really fun one for when raids happen. It's going to be awesome. Stuakis also cheering those 100 bits. You guys are rocking and rolling, man. I really appreciate it. Another follow from Kelrath. I don't know how to thank you all. I feel pretty touched. Honestly, I really do. I'm not being facetious or anything. I really am pretty touched. Diffs, how much you paying, Grim? Yeah, man, I appreciate you, Griff. Everyone, I really appreciate it. I'm going to bring up a video, another video here. Let's see if this plays nice for a second. Let me go back to when the Pioneers introduced. Okay. And then let's swing over real quick. Let's switch over real quick. So from the Held the Line video, I'm sure a lot of you saw this ship here, this rear visual of the ship, and then it goes to, or actually, did I skip it? You all know what I'm talking about. Is it before this? Mentalic, 300 bits. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. You see this ship pop up a few times. You see it here. See this ship right here, Mentalic. Thank you so much for those 300 bits. I appreciate it. You see the back thrusters right here, and you'll see this long vertical piece right here. Okay, bridge section. And then I'm going to go down a little bit further, and then this is another angle. You see the ship coming out here. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, as someone who's studied ships a lot, this paneling right here, specifically these little serrated panels, there's another ship that those are on. Can you guess what it is? I wonder if you can see it in Hanger Link. I may not be on this angle. You know what? I could probably open it in Cinema 4D. Either way, where I'm going with this is this type of paneling is on the Pioneer as well. This exact paneling right here, as well as some of these elements down here, are on the Pioneer. Like exactly, like to a T. I think what you're seeing here is a consolidated outlens ship of some type, some sort of barge or whatever. So what does that mean, right? Well, to me, it means that there may be more large scale, and you can see here the, oops, sorry, let me back up just a smidge. What that may mean is, first off, it's got some of the consolidated outline colors, right? But also it's got that really wide barge, space barge, Pioneer-like bridge. I'm going to back it up one more time. You can see that bridge here. I'm telling you, this is a consolidated outland ship. So what that means to me is there's large-scale consolidated outlands assets already created for Squadron 42. Now, am I saying the Pioneer's going into development anytime soon? No. But what I am saying is that it's quite obvious to me there are consolidated outlands, large-scale assets that exist, and that they could probably put the Pioneer into production at some point sooner than we think, because a lot of the thinking right now is that, well, the Pioneer is going to be a long way off because A, it's a complicated ship, B, we don't really have any design language or assets for large-scale consolidated outland ships. All we have is like the Mustang and the Nomad. And is the Nomad the biggest of the consolidated outland ships? Correct me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure. Let's see, consolidated. Yeah, it is. It's the biggest one, the Nomad. So it's very likely that there are some, like I said, some big set pieces for consolidated outland. When I first saw this, that's immediately what I thought. Like, you could look at that paint job, that livery right there, and you could 100% see a paint version of the Pioneer in those color schemes. 100%. So you never know. We might get consolidated outland big haulers sooner. I could see a consolidated, like, let's say if they were to, they do their, John Cruz said on the ship talk during SitCon that they're going to move into ship families, right? They're tackling RSI first. I could easily see the next one being like a consolidated outland. They could go ahead and tick off the Pioneer, which would be right in time for base building second phase, maybe by the time they get around to it, maybe 18 months from now or, 2 years from now. But then they also could tack on some other ships for consolidated outland and fill those out because, like some people have said, consolidated outlands needs more ships. They have the Nomad and then the Pioneer. There's a lot of stuff in between. I could see consolidated outland having a repair ship to compete with the Crucible. I could see them having possibly a refining ship. I could definitely see them having some cargo haulers to compete with the Hull series of ships, especially if this like space barge is a version of a transport ship from Consolidated, I could totally see that being a really interesting competitor to the spindle design from the Hull series. VG says Misk makes more sense as the next MFR family with Expanse, Odyssey, and the remaining hulls. Yeah, I actually agree with that, VG. I think Misk makes more sense from a ship backlog standpoint for sure. But if they're trying to tie it in with new and upcoming gameplay, man, diving into the Consolidated Outland, like building out new ships for that, I think would be a big win. I think tackling the Pioneer would be a big win. Again, I personally think they could do things though, like, make the Kraken have some base building modules or whatever. I know they said it wasn't going to be a modular ship, but I could see the Kraken. Maybe there's like an industrial variant of the Kraken beyond its base variant and privateer variant, one that specializes in building and fabrication. That could be kind of interesting. So yeah, let's see here. Anyways, when I saw this big ship, I just immediately thought, oh, interesting. There maybe is more to Consolidate Outlands than we realized. Very interesting to see. It's a big ship, I'll tell you that. It's a monster. That looks to me to be like a 200-meter sized ship. I mean, it's big. If it is Consolidated Outland, I can tell you right now that they changed some of the Consolidated Outland design language, because this big space barge has circular engines. The Pioneer doesn't. So, again, I'm not 100% sure it's Consolidated, but it really seems like it. There's actually quite a few design cues there that are making me think Consolidated. So, interesting. So, Metallic says, is that the same ship from later when they're on foot? Yes. Yeah, it comes up again, actually right here. At least I'm pretty sure that's the same ship. I mean, it's a big old ship. Yeah, engine layout's the same, exactly. So last thing I wanted to look at tonight is this video by Jail. I saw Montoya. I was watching Montoya today, and he covered it, and I thought it was rather interesting. So I thought we would look at it, and it has to do with variants of the Bengal carrier seen in Squadron 42 hold the line trailer, as well as Blaze. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hope you're well. Again, everyone, thank you so much earlier for the bits, all the bits that came in, all the gift subs. Seriously, you're all amazing. I really, really appreciate that. It's been fun hanging out tonight. Tuodiak, God, I hope I'm saying these names, or just Zodiac if I read numbers correctly. Zodiac 1988, thank you for that follow. Also sending the Javelin overhead, redeemed a stretch, which I'm going to do right now. Cody Kara, thank you for the follow. Really appreciate it. Sorry, my bot's kind of being a little slow at the moment. Triple just sent another 100 bits. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You guys are helping me get to my follower goal. I really appreciate it. All right. So the last thing I wanted to look at, like I said, with this video that Montoya covered, talking about the Bengal variants, I'm going to attempt to see if I can bring I bring this up? Can I dock this? No, I can't. Okay. That's all right. We're going to go through it manually. Hang on here. So I'm going to turn the volume up. I actually haven't totally watched this video. I've seen part of it, but not all of it. And I really wanted to watch it and sort of react to what some of the discussion here is. So let's watch it. We'll watch it together. This will be our first time, and we'll see what they have to say. Verena for the win says, by the way, I'm so impressed with how fast you got the Zeus on Star Jump. Oh, appreciate it, Verena. Yeah, it was a difficult ship to create. I did a stream on Twitch 2 nights ago. It might be in my VODs. I can't remember. Maybe not. Either way, but I showed how I created it. I did a behind the scenes on how I created the Zeus for Fleet Viewer. It was not an easy ship to do. It was actually one of the harder ships I've ever had to do for Fleet Viewer. It was right up there with like the Endeavor and the Crucible and stuff. It was just tricky because RSI and Origin especially are the two most difficult ship manufacturers to deal with because of just how smooth the surfaces are, and because a lot of the detail on those ships is, you know, contained within its like palm decal layers and stuff like that. So appreciate it. And then Ostentatious, yeah, when we get done with this video, I'll open up Cinema 4D and I can take any additional questions. Everyone, real quick, before I forget, I'm going to send these. These will come up via Twitch. If you're on Twitch's links, YouTube, I don't have this bot set up for YouTube, so bear with me. But definitely go check out, and please follow me on Twitter or X. It's just at StarJump.org. Over there. That's how I send out a lot of Star Jump related news. So I'd love for you to give us a follow there. Definitely go by our YouTube, trying to build the subscriber count. So all you Twitch viewers, if you have not been over to YouTube and, you know, subscribe to my channel or our channel, the Star Jump channel, please do. There's stuff hosted there by me. There's stuff that we do on Ender's channel, like Fleet Builders. You know, we put those episodes up as well. You know, go follow Ender as well over on his Twitch. I'm sure he'd appreciate that. We have lots of avenues to get Star Jump stuff. And then obviously, don't forget kind of the big one. Let's see here. Go check out Star Jump Fleet Viewer. And if you see Starlet or VMXEO in chat or in other Discord channels and you see them talking, make sure you pause a second and give them both a giant Star Citizen salute. They really work their butts off on Fleet Viewer, and it's a project that requires continued upkeep by all three of us. And it, you know, when events like Invictus or CitizenCon or IAE roll around, a lot of people are excited just to, you know, enjoy the new announcements. And we look at it as a time to get to work because it usually means ships are about to be announced and there's, you know, work that has to be done to get them into Fleet Viewer. The Fleet Viewer ingest process is a little bit more complicated than people probably think. We have specific angles and templates that the ships have to be rendered in. They have to be lit. They have to, for flight ready ships, they have to be pulled from the game files. For concept ships, we have to pull the holo models, remodel a lot of stuff, do all texturing, all lighting from scratch, and then all that has to be handed over to Starlet in a completely different time zone for her to integrate. So it is complicated. We do appreciate your support and all that good stuff. So, okay, enough with those announcements. Let's get to it. All right, so here we go. Actually, how many people do we have watching right now? See, here's the thing. I need to figure out how to do giveaways on YouTube. I got the loyalty thing set up for Twitch, but I need to get it set up for YouTube as well. And I don't want to exclude anyone tonight. So what I'll say is this. Probably on Thursday or Friday or something, I'll do another stream where I give away 2 posters. Okay, I'll give away some posters. Again, they come out of my own pocket, so they can get rather expensive. I have to kind of be careful on how many I do a month because they aren't cheap, to be honest with you. They cost about $28 a piece to get in your hands. So I just have to be careful with how many add up, but I do want to give some more away this month. So maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, one of those nights I will do another giveaway. So if you're interested in getting one, just make sure to follow the channel, stop by. Yes, Triple. Actually, there's a couple people. Triple, you're one of them. you're on the big batch of posters that are being processed. They're actually being processed right now by our merch store. Some of and the way they process them is they do a batch process and then they just ship them out. It takes about 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks to get them. Depends. It's all over the place. So Triple, I'm pretty sure I saw yours go through. So I would imagine sometime first half of November, you'll be getting some swag in, my friend. There's a couple other people in chat that'll be getting them too. Some of y'all have won them in contests. Some have done me favors. I've done a little bit of a share. Triple says, sent you a DM with Yeti merch. Oh, awesome. I'll definitely take a look at it. Definitely going to expand the merch shop for Star Jump. We do have a merch store. Is it popping up? Nope. Let me try to pop it up here. Stand by. Okay, yeah, there it is. It's the Teespring one. That's it, but that's our old one. You still can buy stuff there. But we are going to get it going bigger. Oh, maybe you were asking about Predator. Okay, sorry. All right, let's see here. Mount Star says 1 in 10 chance of getting this fleet's a poster ship poster. Good. Okay. All right, we're going to watch this video. I'm kind of curious to see it. Here we go.
Buzz around potential new capital ships visible. There's a lot of buzz around potential new capital ships visible in the I Held the Line Squadron 42 trailer from CitizenCon 2953. But what are they? Are they battleships, cruisers, carriers, and what information can we glean from past sources? In this video, I'll be going way back to the start of the project to talk about the information we have around these ships. The structure I'm going to use is that I'm going to list just the facts in a mostly chronological order, then I'm going to go on to draw some of the strong connections between those data points, and finally I'll end by indulging in a little speculation. This video may contain small spoilers for Squadron 42 and will reference one leaked image from development. This might not be absolutely every morsel of news, but I am going to cover some background information that highlight the remaining gaps in our knowledge, and I think these are the pertinent points.
Verena for the win, thank you for that
2012
follow.
and 2013, stretch goals added numerous ship classes to the game. These included the Cruiser at $4.5 million,
Cruiser.
Escort Carrier at $15 million, and the Battle Cruiser at $17 million. Of these, the Cruiser is described as playable, the Battle Cruiser as flyable, but no such description is given for the Escort Carrier. Note that the Bengal, which we know we may be able to find a derelict version of but we can't buy, is also listed as playable. March 2013, and the subscriber magazine Jump Point publishes a Galactic Guide to Cathcart which references an Indefatigable class battleship. This name is removed from the guide when it is later published to the main website. The Indefatigable class battleship is also mentioned in the May 2013 Vandal Warship analysis. Jump Point issues through 2013 track the story of the Void Rats, a UEE Navy squadron assigned to the UES Africanus, a support carrier that's just a retrofitted battlecruiser used for less important naval operations. In January 2014, Lore Builder Episode 13 listed the prefix designations for different classes of capital ship used by the UEE. These designations have since been used numerous times, though we can't necessarily assume that all will still be valid. Note that the Escort Carrier, Charlie Victor Echo, Cruiser, Battleship and Battlecruiser are all included at this point. In December 2014, the Pegasus-class escort carrier, which had been mentioned before, was formally announced, and shown to be a long ship with a side-slung asymmetric landing bay. Previously this had been referred to as the Panther in some conversations, though this was the first image of the vessel shown.
Awesome. By the way, thank you, everyone. If you do buy merch, I really appreciate it. It is a great way to support us. I'll also say we do have a Patreon. I'm putting the link into chat right now. We do have a Patreon as well. Again, really appreciate everything. Shipyard episodes, when I do those, which I've done 3 at this point, I'm working on 1 now. Those get released to Patreon 24 hours early, just as a heads up. I do try to keep up with rewards, but I'm pretty terrible at it. But I do put those episodes out 24 hours early for Patreon supporters. We really appreciate the support. Renders for our videos are very expensive. And again, just appreciate that support. And by the way, if you are interested in looking at the Pegasus more, previously known as the Panther, you can find that in Fleet Viewer. You just have to check off the... well, actually, no, you don't have to check off the official only thing. It's just in there. But we have the Pegasus in there. There you go. You can check it out. Let's get back to our video.
It has been shown and discussed a number of times before and since, but there's little change from what we see at this stage. It's described in the holiday livestream that year as being the player's home for part of Squadron 42. May 2018 and a special of Around the Verse features the latest character model of Randall Graves, the character played by John Rhys Davis. The character's jacket pairs a patch marked UEES Chimera Charlie Victor Echo 35. This patch moves around his jacket in other videos, but still prominently featured in both the October 2018 cinematic teaser and the 2023 I Held the Line video. July 2021,
Pegasus
and
on it.
Lawmakers Community Questions confirms that the Indefatigable class battleship is a historical but defunct class of vessel that is no longer in service. September 2021, and a Galactopedia article entitled Integrity and Honor has been published. The article mentions a cruiser called the UES Integrity, which featured a propaganda recruitment film in 2935, 10 years before the events of Squadron 42. Late 2022, and leaked images begin to surface online of two capital ships docked in space.
So you can see two Bengal variants here. These are slightly different, by the way, than the Bengal we all know. And that's pretty easily seen. If I pull the Bengal up, we'll move the Pegasus over. If we move the Bengal to an area here where we can get a good view of it. This Bengal does not have large-scale cannons on it. It has the double-decker flight hangar, the double-decker runway. You get the first one that comes through the nose and exits the rear, as well as the top flight deck here, and a kind of an oversized bridge. Nothing on the back here except for antennae and stuff. But if you go back to this one from the leak, this Bengal has two lower engines, but not the top mounts. You'll see the normal Bengal has these top mounted pieces as well. This Bengal only has the lower mounts. Looks to have a slightly smaller bridge, but has three large, I think those are those size 14 ship buster dual cannons on the top. Who knows how many it has on the bottom. The next variant seems to be a Bengal that is a lot shorter in size, loses a big part of its stub nose. It's really just got the runway on top, maybe not on bottom, so it could be a little thinner. And it has smaller bottom-only engines. These engines look a little smaller than these here, a little smaller, a little longer. Significant changes to the rear section, no cannons on the top. So what we're seeing here is that the RSI ship docks are obviously making multiple variants of ships, possible different classes that are loosely based off some tertiary cosmetic similarities, but these two ships are wildly different. I've heard people say that this rear one here is just a Bengal with the nose cut off. I can tell you, as someone who's inspected the Bengal heavily, there's a lot more differences there. It's actually a smaller body in general. Even this runway area is smaller. I don't think it has an internal runway section at all. And again, we may open the Bengal in 3D here in a minute, but I think this is a much, much different ship.
Both appear to be made from parts of the Bengal carrier, but with key differences. One appears to have a flight deck and a tapered nose, while the other retains the Bengal's distinctive duckbill, but replaces the flight deck with large cannons. Both appear to only have underslung rear engines and lack the upper engines of the Bengal. September 2023, and as part of the last monthly Galactopedia update before
Actually, another thing I could see.
September 20.
Another difference I could see. It's hard to see, but these little windows up here, if you can see my mouse moving, these little windows, there's only two on a single level. If you look at the Bengal, it's got multiples. It's got these two, but then it's also got this upper tier deck and this big antenna array. That other Bengal looks like it's cut off at these windows here. So it looks like there's nothing higher than that to me. Maybe a little bit of greebling, but that looks to be mostly it. So again, significant differences here in these two vessels.
The flight deck with large cannons. Both appear to only have underslung rear engines and lack the upper engines of the Bengal. September 2023, and as part of the last monthly Galactopedia update before CitizenCon, the Pegasus is added to Galactopedia. It is described in the present tense and as a standard component of UEE Navy fleets. October 2023, and the new Squadron 42 trailer drops during CitizenCon 2953. There are 2 clips that I'll be looking at in detail. The opening shot over Vega 2, and the later scene of Admiral Bishop's speech, which ends with another exterior shot of the fleet. I've picked out every potential capital ship that I think I can find across both clips.
Very
I'm
in-depth
highlighting
video.
them across the footage so you can double check my interpretations if you like. Note that if a ship appears in 2 of my annotated snapshots, it should have the same identifying number. While most names and shapes are indistinct, during one shot we can clearly see the UEES Corvus and a sneak peek at the UEES Integrity, viewable past Mark Strong's legs, and I've put together a composite reconstruction of the different shots we have of this.
Wow,
Now
really
I'm going
good
to move on to
detail.
drawing connections between these points of information. I believe that these points of analysis, while not explicitly stated in the videos, are things that we can be quite confident about. Let's first analyse the ships we see in the new trailer. Sorting these vessels into their classes, I believe we can see 1 Bengal, the Krugeri, 12 Javelins, 7 Idrises, 9 Hammerheads, which aren't capitals but could be mistaken for them, and 10 ships that don't appear to conform to an announced ship class. I have tried to ignore the Hornets and Retaliators also in shot, but one snuck in.
6A had you wondering, what was that? Oh, 6A is one of those unknown of the 10. Yeah, I mean, the level of detail in this is amazing. I'm going to link the video, Harley Quinn, because I do think it deserves more views. I'm going to give it a thumbs up myself and even just say, great video. Thanks for creating this. Not very original, but there we go. Yeah, let me post the link to this because again, I think this is a fantastic video. I love the level of detail here. I love when the community will really go out of their way to research and make videos of some real substance. That always, again, this is why I like, Yacht Club, Soul Citizens, Info Runners. They're not just recapping various things. These are video, content creators that really deep dive certain topics. I love that. I really love it. All right, I'm going to post that into chat. There is the link for everyone for this video. Again, really well done.
Within our unidentified ships, all but 2 appear to be of the same class, which I'll term Class A, with this Y-shaped ship and this ship with a carrier deck being the only outliers in Class B. Of the elite ships in 2022, I believe that our unidentified Class A ships match the ship on the right. This is the craft characterised by a Bengal-shaped nose and 3 large guns, 2 fore and 1 after the tower. Furthermore, I have grouped both the UES Integrity.
So Stoica's 3A is possibly a variant of the Bengal. It is a Bengal, I think, but it's the Bengal with the giant guns, which is different than the Bengal we've seen so far.
And the UES Corvus into Class A. As for the other vessel on the left, this is characterised by a flight deck projecting from under the tower, a Y-shaped profile, and prominent ventral projections that are absent from Class A. As it appears to be a smaller carrier, the only designation from the 2014 Lawmaker's Guide it would match is the escort carrier, a class designation occupied by the Pegasus. The Pegasus still exists somewhere within the lore, as we can tell by this extremely recent addition to the Galactopedia. While its model seen in 2014 is conspicuously absent from the naval shots, the retention of that model on Randall Graves' jacket, despite an update pass, implies that the UES Chimera, whatever it was, did look like that old 2014 Pegasus model. The Charlie Victor Echo serial number matches the escort carrier, and like the Pegasus, the Chimera comes from Greek mythology, following the trend of UE Navy ships keeping to the same theme as the lead ship of the class. Now on to more outlandish speculations. This is where I'm going beyond what I'm confident in saying it probably is true, and into areas where it's very possible that I'm wrong. I believe that Class A, which included the Integrity and the Corvus, are from a ship class that we revealed to be the Cruiser. Now, I don't know what it's going to be called. I can't think of a thematic connection between Integrity and Corvus, which means crow and is also a constellation. The exact names might just be incidental, could be breaking naming patterns, which is not unheard of, or may just be different generations, or as they call flights of ships, which do sometimes change naming pattern, as in the Hammerhead class. Alternatively, one could be the Cruiser and the other the Battle Cruiser, with the differences not being obvious in the video as we can see it here. And it is worth recognizing that Galactopedia uses the lowercase for describing ship classes, so it's actually quite hard to tell if cruiser is a class or if it's just a description, in the same way that one might idly and non-technically describe all capital ships as, like, battleships, for example. If I had to guess, I'd say it's more likely to be the Corvus class cruiser, because that's a constellation and RSI ships are quite often named after constellations.
Makes
I think
sense.
it's highly likely that the previous model we've seen for the Pegasus will not be featured as part of modern fleets, and instead will be kept only as an earlier generation of escort carrier. If it does appear, it might be only as a set piece, as implied for a segment of Squadron 42. Its absence from footage at this stage, a month after they said it's a standard part of naval fleets, is to me just a bit too suspicious. The old model with a hangar bolted onto the side is reminiscent of the description of the retrofitted Africanus mentioned in Void Rats, and they might reuse that idea of having the Chimera be one of those retrofitted ships, basically just an old ship with something bashed onto the side of it. Instead, I suspect that the Class B ships will have replaced it as the escort carrier of the line. Since the recent Galactopedia specifically mentions the Pegasus as the current model and as featured,
I could see this. I could see this being what they've done.
The name will transfer to the new model, with the Greek mythology connection being an inherited feature from the class that Chimera belonged to. This is the area where I'm least confident, because there's a lot of good options of what they could do, and the Pegasus might simply be absent because the presence of a Bengal makes it redundant. I don't think we've seen a battleship yet, and indeed such a vessel might not even really exist outside of lore and history, given that it only...
Oh! Renoxus just made the Kraken fly overhead with a raid announcement. Renoxus, thank you so much. Raiding with a party of 20. I hope you had a wonderful stream. Renoxus, thank you so much for your raid. Salute to you. Thanks for heading on over and blessing me with your community. I really appreciate it. I hope you had a great night streaming. What were you all up to? We've been going through base building tonight. We've talked all about base building. We talked about the Consolidated Outland Pioneer for quite a while. We're now looking at capital ships. This really great capital ship video that deep dives the capital ships that are sort of hinted at and shown off a little bit in the I Held the Line video. Specifically around Bengal variants. We're kind of taking a look at that. But yes, Renoxus, thank you so much. Salute to you. I'm giving you the giant salute. I really appreciate it. You rock and roll. I appreciate it. I didn't know if we would see the Kraken raid alert tonight, but we did. I'm working on a new raid alert that is really cool. I hope you all will really like it. It's going to be badass. So the question that this video, Renoxus says science experiments tested the results of 3 LCs slammed into each other. Well, how'd that go? How was the experiment? Renoxus, thank you for the follow. You just sent the javelin overhead. Giant salute to you. Anyone in Renoxus's community, if you know of us here at Star Jump, please give the channel a follow. I appreciate that support. We are the creators of the Star Jump Fleet Viewer. If you've never checked it out, I'm posting the link down in the chat. We also have a really cool YouTube channel, and you can follow us there, subscribe over there. You can go subscribe to our Twitter, all that good stuff. Again, thank you for those follows. Really appreciate it. Gauki, thanks so much. What this video is positing is that perhaps the Bengal carrier, that the Pegasus is possibly no longer active within the UEE. The reasoning being, we really have not seen much out of it, and we've seen variations of the Bengal that seem to be sort of stepping on the toes of the Pegasus escort carrier. Renoxus says, made a really nice art installation outside Seraphim Station. Well, that's great to hear, Renoxus. It sounds like you were simply testing PES. You were testing persistence and doing a damn good job of it. I really, again, appreciate you sending your community over here and hanging out with us. Like I said, we're just talking ships tonight, discussing things, discussing base building. So yeah, it's very possible that these ships that they're referring to, those Bengal variants that just have the flight decks on them. It's very possible that there was just no need for yet another completely unique ship that couldn't be created using, by doing a variant of the Bengal. They can use a lot of the interiors and stuff to do, along with that. The Pegasus has got kind of a weird layout anyway. It's got this like weird, like super mini bridge, but giant engines with large ventral, large ventral extensions on the rear. It seemed, when I was inspecting the model, it seemed a little dated. It's got these protrusion parts here with, again, additional engines. It seemed just a little, it's the right word. It seemed like it was a little haphazard. So it's got this side hangar here. You can see the hangar right here. This is a hangar. There's actually a landing pad inside here. It's a fly-through hangar. I don't know if we'll see it in the game, though. It's a great question. I did have someone ask if I was going to put those Bengal variants into Fleet Viewer, and I think the only answer that I have on that right now is that when Squadron 42 comes out, I will probably work with Starlet and VMXEO to pull most of the ships that are represented in Squadron 42 into Fleet Viewer. I mean, I think that is what we would want to do. A little side story, when we released Fleet Viewer, did get a little bit of a knock on the door from CIG, and there was, I think, some initial concerns at CIG about, showing off like the Pegasus and the Retribution and stuff in Fleet Viewer. I think they didn't want those squadron assets to be shown, and some of those, I guess, came from a leak that happened in the game way back in the day before my time. And I let them know. I said, look, if you need me to remove them from Fleet Viewer, I will definitely do that. You just got to let me know. But they were gracious enough to let me keep them in, and I am very appreciative. Chris Drake says, I just learned about the other variants of the Bengals from the Hold the Line videos. Yeah, it's really interesting.
It appears a handful of articles and was never a stretch goal. I don't see any connections between the vessels we see in the new video and the information we've seen about battleships, like the...
Socially confused. The Retribution is what's known as a super dreadnought. There's only one, but I believe it's the super dreadnought is what they call that. Where's my large? Yeah, super dreadnought.
Indefatigable ones.
I love the bridge shot there of the Bengal.
It might be a defunct combat battleship
right here,
like the Indefatigable ones. It might be a defunct concept in modern naval language, superseded by a more carrier-focused doctrine and later the Retribution Dreadnought. I hope this overview has been of interest to you.
So speculation summary here. He thinks this is a new cruiser class, possibly named in the pattern of UES Corvus or UES Integrity. So I'm going to disagree with him there. I actually think this is the battleship. The guns on it and all that stuff, I don't know. It's sort of, they've stacked the guns along the top deck with two in the front, one in the rear. Heavily reminds me of World War II battleships. So I actually speculate that this is the battleship class type ship. This one down here, though, this new escort carrier ship that we're seeing signs of, this to me sounds like it's the replacement for the Pegasus. It would make sense. Yeah, it would make sense. But I think this is the battleship. He says no battleships yet. He could absolutely be right, but I don't know. I think this is possibly the battleship. The placement of the guns and everything just reminds me of let's see here. General Rendar says, Paul Shelley says that battleships are much bigger, Star Jump. I'd be interested to know how big, though, because it's an odd distinction that the battleship would be bigger than carriers. I'm not saying that Paul's not right. I mean, very much Paul knows the lore, much better than me. But in naval parlance, it would be very odd for a carrier to be smaller than a battleship. I don't know. It seems odd. Seems odd. So to me, This seems like, well, you know what? Let me look up something real quick here. Okay, I'm going to look up something here. It says, okay, listen here. Cruiser is a type of warship. Modern cruisers are generally the largest ships in a fleet after aircraft carriers and amphibious assault ships. So they're the largest ships in the current Navy, but that doesn't include battleships. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little split on it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I think this is the battleship. I could be wrong, but it's damn near the size of the carrier. It could be a little longer, actually. This could be longer than a standard Bengal. We don't know that. It's a little hard to tell. It just looks like a battleship to me, especially from, where's that video? Let's go back to it real quick here. Yeah, right here. It's got the two big turrets on top, the one on the rear. I don't know. It looks like a battleship to me. It looks like a battleship. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. Okay, real quick. Let's see here. Bear with me, everyone. Bear with me. I'm going to swing over to. I'm going to swing back over to. Okay. Oops. Sorry, I'm trying to get. Okay. All right. Now, later this week, I will do a giveaway. Won't do it tonight because I'm not set up to properly do it on both YouTube and Twitch, but I will get that set up. But later this week, I am going to do a giveaway. Let me find it here if I can actually find the damn thing. I'm going to do a giveaway of. Oh my God, where is it? All right. Later this week, I'm going to do a giveaway of this poster. It's the all ships poster that has every ship. I'll make sure all the names are right. I guess when this one still had wrong names. Oh gosh, I'll fix that tonight. But hey, it's Angry PC Tech. Salute to you. I hope you're well, buddy. Texas Space Navy, Mr. Mud Dog himself. Salute to you as well. Hope you guys are both doing good. I was just talking to Angry PC Tech last night about the awesome stuff he was creating over on his channel. But anyways, I'll do a giveaway of this poster sometime later this week. Again, just monitoring how many posters I'm giving away. For those of you that I have promised posters, let's talk about this. There was a gap in between when I announced you had won and you hadn't heard anything or hadn't received anything. I was doing a big switch over from one merch store to another. I did that. When I did that, they suddenly increased the price of their printing. So I had to seek out another merch store. I finally found it. I know it's taken a while. So if I have promised you a poster at some point, whether it was through a contest or some other means, I can promise you it's now finally happening. They're all being processed. I literally hit go on the processing of almost 15 posters today. So they are all happening and they will be going out very shortly. So last but not least, I want to thank Soul Citizens again for this awesome, I'm just going to show it off again in the chat. Awesome Fleet Viewer poster here. My NVIDIA thing is trying to crop it out. Sorry. Stop. Signed by members of Soul Citizens and CIG. Got little Disco Lando was here. There we go. But we got all kinds of people that signed this. Griff, Jake, Aaron Roberts, Todd Pappy. I mean, everybody. Xylo, Gomab, Yo-Yo Meg, Authy, Abdi. I mean, just everybody. Fast Car. I mean, everybody signed this. It's incredible. How cool is that? And signed it in gold pen nonetheless. So I will definitely be framing that and talking more about that. I see Griffin is down there in chat. I know Fast Cart was in chat earlier. Not sure if he's still here, but I want to give big old salutes to both of you. I really, really, really appreciate it. I know I've said that multiple times, but I think what's really cool with there's sort of two types of content creators out there, and this isn't a knock on any one content creator. You know, there's content creators that are in this to make a living and support their families and all that good stuff, and they're kind of focusing on themselves and their brand, and that's great, rock on. And then there's the other ones that are really out there just supporting. You know, they're just supporting other creators. They're trying to spread a positive vibe out there and other things. And I just think that is so damn cool. And Soul Citizens is definitely one of those groups. So I cannot say enough good stuff about Soul Citizens. If you have not checked out the Soul Citizens, as a matter of fact, I'm going to pull that up right now. Damn it. Stand by. Stand by, everybody. Stand by. If you haven't checked out Soul Citizens, please, oh God, please go to their, I'm going to post this here. Please go to their Twitch. Give them a follow on Twitch and all their channels. I'm sure they link to them from there. Just a great group of people. Obviously, Joran's in chat. Make sure you go give the Yacht Club a follow. The Yacht Club broadcasts every Wednesday night. Just an incredible group of people. Again, supported us from the very beginning. Yacht Club hosted when we first unveiled Fleet Viewer to the world. We did that unveiling on Yacht Club. They hosted us for that and allowed us to kind of go over time a little bit. And we had a great turnout for that episode, so it was awesome. And then obviously Execute from Info Runners was in here earlier. Not sure if he still is, but Execute, great supporter of Star Jump as well. I co-hosted some of his SitCon second day reaction stuff. I had a lot of fun doing that. He's so much fun to talk to. So many other people in chat, friends, community members. I just can't thank you enough. So the last time I was on the Yacht Club, I had a great conversation with Papa Juggernaut. He was one of the fellow panel guests. So that's who we're going to raid tonight. For those of you on YouTube, really enjoyed hanging out with you all as well. I will be doing more dual streaming. I hope you like that. Again, I'm going to start doing it more now that Twitch has changed their policy. So everyone, sending you over to Papa Juggernaut's channel. Give him some Star Jump love. Tell him hi from me, Graham. I'll say hello as well. Thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for all the follows. Please follow my channel if you want to stay up with me on things. I really appreciate it. Go give Papa Juggernaut a big giant salute. Everyone on YouTube, have a great night. See you later.